Hey and good day all. Yes, an intriguing title. I believe that most people have goodness in their heart and they mean the best. My question is, if you researched your religion like I have researched the one I was raised in, would you still rep it? Would you still try to convert people? Do you believe that you cannot connect to the Creator just innately? Do you believe that without your holy books and without your temples and churches, that the Creator wouldn't exist anymore? I'm going to show you some things, starting with the Eternal Boys, and it's up to you to make your mind up. The Eternal Boys of ancient Rome today would most likely be called gender fluid. Now, what they are, or what they were eunuchs, also called castrati, because they were castrated. And this wasn't willingly, not for these guys anyway. As you can see, the paint is being rubbed off their faces, but you can see their features. But I'll show you some pictures in due course. Now, according to this piece, the first deliberate castration was by Atossa the First, who is Cyrus the Great's wife. The Cyrus that I told you about in another video, and some people did get a bee in their bonnet about it, but the truth, I'm sure, can be exasperating and embarrassing and can challenge your identity. But here goes, I'll show you again who that is. The crooked place is straight, I will break in pieces the gates of brass. Is it a prophecy or a threat? And cut in sunder the bars of iron, and I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places. And I will stop there because I don't want to go too far, and I will go to verse 14. Thus say the Lord, the labour of Egypt and merchandise of Ethiopia, and the Sabines and of the Sabines, men of stature shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine. They shall come after thee in chains. They shall come over, and they shall fall down unto thee. They shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely God is in thee, and there is none else. There is no God. Now, this is who they say Cyrus is. He has so many names. Now, over the years, I've given many books, but I'm resorting now to showing you that this information is readily available. Yes, it should be cross-referenced, but nevertheless, do you see the names? Do you see at the bottom, King of the Universe? Well, if you look at the bottom, it says that they use this word to refer to them as gods. In Judeo-Christianity. So if you do not understand, go back to Isaiah 45 and read verse 3. He says, know that I am the God of Israel. And his wife is castrating men of colour, to be precise. Now, do not get me wrong. I question what was so horrific for these children of Moors, because the Moriscos, they're from the Balkans, as well as Portugal, Spain, and so forth. And don't get me wrong, there were the nobles who are less ethnic, let's put it that way. If you remember what I showed you before about what was happening with the Granada War, and that Mohammed XII had to give back the keys, and you had Isabella and her cousin, brother, husband, you know, they changed the rules so they could get married and have some kind of status. Well, this is what was going on there. This is where Christianity and Islam were created, Europe. And so with all the invasions and arguing and whatnot going on, they took all the argument all around the world and they used their religion to do that. Apparently they were good looking and that was one of the main things. But what they did to these eunuchs' fathers was basically end them off so that they couldn't come back and save them. And what you also had were the Galli, which are the Galicians from Spain. And they willingly apparently chopped off their things, which some people thought was gross. But it was because as a eunuch, you could get a lot of privileges. In fact, one of them even became an empress. And it was only when, I think, as years went on and they went to Britain, then a little stir, there was a stirring about it, and then, it became null and void or just not acceptable. But what I haven't said is Christians and Muslims alike, they like the fact that there were men that couldn't impregnate the women. So a lot of how's your father was going on actually. Yeah, they would abandon their religious, pious behavior because they could get away with it and not get, the women couldn't get pregnant. So the women were on one. But as you can see here, it says that they were a desired commodity. So you've got Emperor Hadrian, who also bought himself one. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on with these religious people. As for Nero, people have a lot of different things to say about him. But either way, when his wife died, he thought he'd purchased himself a eunuch and was trying to pay anybody that would turn him into a woman. And here you see the Indian with the feathers on, helping to convert the Arab, which is one of the people I just spoke about, the Eternal Boys, to Christianity, and they would often come as eunuchs already. Remember, the Bible speaks about them. And they say they did it to avoid temptation and lust and all that type of thing there. Eventually it was phased out. Generally, this was accepted as the status of these types of men. Let's put it that way. So what about this, which you try to justify, which really is, as a Muslim, I'm going to come to your country in peace and I'm living here. And as long as you're good with that, I'm good. But if you're not good, then it's all out war. And what about this? Go and look it up if you don't know. And Christians, you're no better. You were not any better. In fact, your whole religion, that's what it's based on. It's based on taking people out forcibly. If you care to look up that order, it's about perpetual war against your fellow Muslim. And under the guise of a holy order, you see, soldiers of the cross, that's what it's about. The cross is a weapon. See, the thing is, you could take the time to go and look these things up for yourself, but most people have been living this way for so long that they've convinced themselves none of this is true. So your religion's about racism. But more importantly, it was about greed and not having, really and truly. You know, what you're under is a military order. That's what your religions are. I mean, look at your history. It's not hard. If you go and look up this Isaac, apparently he wrote all the sermons in your Bible. Yep. And it shows you that resurrection doesn't mean what you thought. Christ is an organization. And they enforce the organization with, let's call, utensils. If you just read what you can see on the screen, it will tell you with what. I'll just be quiet and let you just look for a minute. Also, if you read, the real meaning of the resurrection is believing in the faith. But you know what? It's ultimately your choice to accept that what you believe in is not what you really believe in your heart. Or maybe it is. See, what we are currently in is a continuation of what has been for centuries. And it only ends when we all collectively wake up. Or will we continue to pray to the Lord?